Most people woke up this morning casually checking their trading apps, glancing at red and green numbers, and assuming what they were seeing was just another ordinary market correction, another normal pullback, another routine fluctuation that happens all the time. But that belief is exactly what the system wants you to hold on to, because what is actually unfolding right now has nothing to do with a healthy market adjustment. What you are witnessing is a carefully engineered psychological operation, a $90 silver trap designed to scare, confuse, and ultimately strip everyday people of their physical assets at the worst possible moment. While the mainstream financial media keeps its cameras pointed elsewhere and pretends nothing unusual is happening, the plumbing of the global financial system is seizing up behind the scenes. The CME has gone dark, silver prices are exploding away from public view, and the largest bullion banks on Earth are scrambling in a state of full-blown systemic panic. This is not a glitch. This is not a coincidence. And it is definitely not being done for your protection. History shows us that whenever insiders lose control of price discovery, whenever paper contracts can no longer suppress the physical reality of supply and demand, the response is always the same. They pull the plug. They shut down visibility. They freeze the exchange. They cut off access to real-time data to prevent what would otherwise become a digital bank run. And right now, you are being told to stay calm, stay patient, and remain in your paper positions while the global elite are doing the exact opposite. They are racing against time to secure every remaining ounce of physical silver they can find, desperately trying to cover short positions that are spiraling out of control before the next market open delivers a blow that could break the back of the dollar itself. The $90 price level is not just a number. It is a line in the sand. And crossing it means the illusion collapses. This trap is designed to convince you that the silver rally is over, that the move has failed, that the risk is too high, and that the smartest thing you can do is sell your physical holdings back to the same banks that spent decades suppressing the price. They want your metal at a fraction of its true value because they know something you are not supposed to know. The red candles flashing on your screen do not reflect reality. They are artifacts of a manipulated paper market, operating in dark pools where retail investors are never allowed to see the true volume of physical metal draining out of Western vaults. The CME going offline is the smoking gun. It is the moment where the digital illusion can no longer hide the fact that London and New York are running out of real metal. We are now witnessing a complete disconnection between paper claims and physical reality, and that gap is entering its final and most violent stage. Internal communications leaking from top-tier regulators strongly suggest that the CME shutdown was ordered to buy time for the Federal Reserve to engineer emergency liquidity measures for dozens of banks quietly sitting on a secret problem list. These institutions are currently buried under more than $500 billion in unrealized losses, and a sustained silver price anywhere near $90 would be a death sentence for balance sheets already stretched to the brink of insolvency. They do not need price stability. They need you to sell. Because without your physical silver, they have no way to meet surging industrial demand from China and India, demand that is draining what little remains of the system's strategic bullion reserves. This is not an accident. It is a coordinated extraction, a false panic for the public, and a silent escape for insiders. While retail investors are being emotionally manipulated into hesitation and fear, powerful players are using the cover of darkness to move into hard assets that exist completely outside the digital banking grid. China, in particular, has executed a devastating arbitrage strategy by bidding significantly higher prices for physical silver in Shanghai, pulling metal out of Western systems faster than it can be replaced. The result is a catastrophic liquidity failure inside U.S. commodities markets, where delivery obligations can no longer be honored. This is financial warfare, and the CME going offline is not a technical failure. It is a white flag. The financial media wants you to believe silver is just another commodity, no different from corn or oil, but that narrative collapses the moment you look at reality. Silver is not optional, it is foundational. Every solar panel, every electric vehicle, every advanced weapons system, and every modern communications platform depends on high-purity silver. The quiet depletion of national reserves represents something far more dangerous than price volatility. It signals a loss of industrial sovereignty. The theft of silver is the theft of future capability. And the $90 trap is the last attempt to reclaim that metal from the public before the global system transitions into a centrally controlled digital currency framework where access to wealth is governed by code and compliance. What is happening now is not theoretical. The unrealized losses sitting on bank balance sheets represent a collapse of confidence, not just accounting entries. That loss of confidence will eventually spill into the real world as people begin to realize their deposits are being used as exit liquidity for institutions that took reckless risks. Discussions of bank holidays are no longer fringe speculation. They are emergency tools being openly debated behind closed doors. And once the system goes dark, it rarely comes back online in the same form. Those holding paper promises will be trapped. Those holding physical assets will not. Silver represents something the system cannot fabricate. It cannot be printed, it cannot be digitally frozen. When you hold it in your hand, you are holding thousands of years of monetary history, a form of wealth that has survived every empire, every currency collapse, and every financial reset. That is why governments are willing to risk geopolitical conflict to control it. This moment is the convergence point silver holders have waited decades for, and the moment banks have feared just as long. Every fiat currency eventually returns to its intrinsic value of zero, and the dollar is now deep into that historical pattern as power quietly shifts toward hard asset-backed trade systems emerging in the East. This $90 threshold represents the symbolic end of the dollar era and the beginning of a new monetary reality where tangible assets reclaim their role as true money. If you are still relying on paper promises from a system drowning in debt, you are standing inside a trap that has been years in the making. The doors are closing, slowly but deliberately, with every passing tick of the clock. This is not fear, it is math. And the evidence is already in front of you. The mainstream narrative is the final barrier keeping the masses complacent. But once silver begins its vertical repricing, no amount of messaging will be able to contain the panic. Insiders are already positioned. Memos have already circulated. The system is being propped up just long enough for the elite to complete their transition. You can choose comfort, or you can choose awareness. But you cannot choose both. Physical silver and gold are not speculation. They are an exit. They are a way to step outside a collapsing framework and ensure continuity when digital systems fail or access is restricted. The shortage is real. The manipulation is breaking. And the truth they fear most is that once physical supply is exhausted, control ends. When the paper illusion finally burns, those who understood the difference between numbers on a screen and metal in hand will emerge on the right side of history. What comes next will be sudden, volatile, and disruptive. Those waiting for official reassurance will be the most exposed. The losses we are seeing now are only the first cracks in the dam, and once the pressure releases, it cannot be stopped by rhetoric or regulation. The responsibility for financial survival is shifting back to individuals, where it has always belonged. Silver is not just protection, it is leverage against a system that can no longer be trusted. You have been warned, the evidence is visible, the reset is underway, and the choice, now more than ever, is yours.